You may not realize that 6 months is not acceptable, that 3 months is better, that people normally, what's the rule of thumb, and we can use Seguin as they develop to say, what is their rule of thumb, what's the normal wait time? Or we can give them the heads up to say, look, we have this development, you need to schedule because this is the hot point, or this is the project, and start to develop some of those relationships so that we do have that. Because as a new person here, it's kind of like everybody operated and coexisted rather than cooperating. So we're hoping that now these joint meetings will help us have more of a cooperative spirit, so everybody knows what we're doing and everybody's on the same page, is what my hope is.
Well, and then the other thing too, Verizon, what's the status on their growth? Do they have a plan in place to do anything over and above what they've done, or is that
The
it?
former mayor, the new Councilman Tejada, shared with me some information that they had with, that because, you know, this is Verizon's area, this is not AT&T's area, that they have expressed that they have no interest right now or inclination to expand what they have.
They're getting lines cut off every day, I suspect.
See, we could put our own antennas on our towers that we have, but it would just give Wi-Fi to the vicinity where those towers are,
Right.
which would be free, obviously, to the people, but it's not gonna reach everybody. It won't help us there either.
Well, this is another issue to work with the county on.
So
This is another issue the county could take the
Well, the
lead on.
county's happy, they already have Time Warner. They already have Time Warner.
Yeah,
They're content.
by virtue of the school.
Yeah.
And the library, yes.
They've got it right across the street.
We try to hook up to it. Tell me what it is, hook
So
up.
it is an issue, so I think, you know, we have to.
Not because the county is smart enough to do it.
So that was it. And so internet is definitely not anything I have been able to solve, but hopefully our phone lines are working a lot better. My phone's working a lot better. Your phone-
Diane, is that an issue that you can raise at a Phillips meeting? I mean, the issue is not, it can't be done, or we've got these problems. The issue is, how can you do it?
How can you help?
How can you make this happen? My job is easy if I always say no.
And I
Because
think
they always
that
have
that's just
problems when they
a
have
joint
their own
meeting that
internet.
needs to be had with somebody from the board, and Tommy and the mayor, and, you know, have that conversation.
Isn't that on the secretary's job description there?
When you say secretary, not city manager.
It's
Oh, you know, that's secretary.
I don't think he's afraid to go.
I don't know if that's in there.
Any more comments on the topic? I think we kind of touched the same thing here, brainstorming sessions with city and businesses, services a lot needed. We kind of hit that pretty hard. Open discussion of other items for FEDC and city services improvements.
Well, one of the things, you know, while this is brainstorming, I just want to mention, one of my concerns is that we don't have any new development going on for retail. And when you look at Pleasanton, of course, you know, every time somebody asks me about, well, look at what Pleasanton's doing. Well, my gosh, you had open space virtually from Pleasanton all the way to Jordan almost for a while. You had a lot of open land. It was much easier to develop some of those places because it was sold and then they prepared it and you're good to go. We have private residents, you know, hodgepodge here and there along the highway that probably over time, I guess we could coordinate a sale of those to try to have one total piece that we could develop. But one of the thoughts is that I think our next place to go is between the highway and the loop. And to open up some of that property that you see for sale now, that would be wide enough that you put a street through, and then you have retail developed on each side of that street. And then, you know, later on, if you sell that next part behind it, then that'd be an alley, more street and retail. But we have probably, to me, as I look down this highway, I think it's the only way to go at some point. And then it would relieve a little more traffic off the
Leave a lot
highway.
of traffic.
That you could take different routes.
That's the only way to go.
We
Where's that at,
have,
Jason?
what's that?
Where's that at?
I'm just between the loop and 181.
This connecting loop and.
You know,
181.
like,
Anyway.
well, for example, name some properties, Ray, you're more familiar with some of those that would open up through there. But there's some properties along that highway that they're big enough that if you could acquire.
I've got to kind of abstain from all that.
Yeah.
Well, but I think you've done a lot of work to try to facilitate that, and it's been a roadblock with that we've got people that own that land that just want too much money, and as soon as somebody approaches them, they hear the price, they're gone, and unfortunately, I think, you know, you've got the right idea for us as a board to educate our citizens, say, hey, you know, this is a deal, it's understandable, you get a piece of property, but, you know, you've got to be reasonable about that, this is a deal that we're willing to work with.
I mean, the last, an American, correct me if I'm wrong, but the last land that's really closed out on 181, it's been a while. It's been a long while.
It's too high.
You know, they won't, market won't stand it. So
Why do you have to bring Steve Smith up in the conversation?
You know,
But you know, Jason, and you've talked about it and we did too, those residences right in front of the apartments over where Eric is, they want too much money.
But
I don't know that you'll
all they
ever
see is stars.
That's where the Walmart should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
all that.
Because there's a strip that should have never been residential.
right.
And now that it is, how do you make it move?
It's hard to
Without
to
money,
undo
you
it,
can't
is.
do it.
And
Taxes.
so that's why, if there was a big enough swath of land that you could try to connect the two highways, I think that's the way to go.
But I gotta say one thing, you know, even though people say Pleasanton and, you know, they may be making a lot of money and they've got industry coming in and all of that, but can you tell me where the town is?
You're right.
It
Well,
has-
I like our town.
Yes.
Yeah, we
yes.
have a neat town, no doubt about it.
It's, and then look at the conditions of some of the structures there too. Because I go over there all the time, you know, my wife loves to go to Bell's over there like we didn't have one here. And
Taking your business out of the town.
Yeah.
Hey neighbor, those are our tax
Tax money over
dollars.
here, man.
not
Some
the
things
$2 or
you
$3
can't
that
control.
we buy. You know.
Like what?
But my point is, you know, I've been to Pleasant many times, and I still think we are much better looking, and we have areas to work with without necessarily making it look like them.
Right, right. Well, I just think from the standpoint of some of the retail establishments that talk to Tommy, they want a place to go to rent, and the only way we're gonna get that is if we have a build out that they can say, hey, I'm willing to pay you this much a month, but I want it to be finished, and you hang the sign up, and here we go.
Sure. If we had a vacant strip center right now somewhere, I've got 4 tenants that would go in there, but they don't want to go into, I mean, they want to be able to control their cost and plow most of their money into their business, not trying to buy the place or the land for exorbitant prices. It just doesn't fit their model, but.
Does that have to be 181 frontage?
No, I mean, it could be downtown, it could be 181, I mean, these are retail, they're like, you know, one of them is a Italian restaurant in Pleasanton and Lavernia, and very successful. He wants 2,000 square feet in a strip center, and he knows what his cost is to finish out, and it's got a good-looking place, but anything else is just excess. And, you know, we don't have, the shopping center we have is full, and so, you know, I know Ray's been trying to help get a developer in to do some sort of strip center so we can start putting these people in. A vitamin store wanted to go in, strip center, you know, there are people that would go in a strip center, but we don't have it. So we've got to somehow try to cultivate that. When you go into the marketplace, the stuff I've talked to people about just doesn't make sense. And, you know, there's gonna come awakening, and it may be over the next 12 to 18 months where it's like, oh my Lord, maybe I ought to not be quite so pricey, because the bottom is sort of dropped out down here, and we need to get this stuff sold. So let's take, you know, a closer look at the price, but right now, that's kind of the dilemma.
But Tommy, the price hasn't dropped out here? is the realistic pricing in Floresville has also, the unrealistic prices are still hanging there. You know, and they'll be hanging there this time next year,
Well, I think so.
because the numbers don't work. You work them backwards, you divide it in, numbers don't work. But I do,
It's like your downtown stores that are empty. Look at the Merle Norman, still has the Merle Norman cosmetics still in the store, from when I was in high school over 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And then they
Well-
want too much rent, so it's hard to get somebody that's a starting company coming in.
But is that a compliance issue, an ordinance issue? Is there something that can be done to say, hey, you know? Now,
Here's
Tommy
the-
had an idea one time, and I think this is cool. He hadn't done anything with it here, but in Belton or wherever that was, they had these silhouettes of people that they actually just, you know, put on the window.
Oh, did I
So,
do?
so at least.
They had what?
Well, like, it was just a landscape or something in the window, so it didn't look like an empty store.
Oh,
And, you know, I
It's
mean,
good.
you
Not
laugh
bad, is
at
it?
that, but at least
It's
it would
something
be
there.
more attractive looking. And it's something, you know, just static type deal that they put in there, static, not adhesive, but just, it sticks to the window, and it just made it look more appealing than having the old makeup sitting there for 20 years.
20 years.
You know, and some of you weren't around when I actually tried for about 3 months to, I had a guy that wanted to put in a scratch bakery downtown. He's convinced that this is gonna be another, you know, shopper's paradise, and he wants to be downtown. We've looked at all kinds of property, and about maybe 10% of the owners down in downtown would lease, but their buildings are in such bad condition that they said, yeah, we'll lease it to you for this much, but you need to spend $75,000 getting it fixed up. You know, not the right approach, because the guy wants to put his money in his business, not in somebody's. And then the others were so absolutely out of realm on asking prices that, you know, again, this particular fellow, he would have gone into a strip center and paid rent, but he's not gonna go in and buy a building. And one of them that was looked at closely was the vacant space that's now a church next to Olivia's. And he went in and, oh my Lord, they've ripped out all the gas lines, which he needs, ripped out, you know, everything, and the building is crumbling down, and these people want $65,000, but you gotta spend $100,000 to get it back up in shape, and, you know, the economics aren't there. And so, I don't know how we get owners' attention to try to find stuff that's reasonable. I mean, that's, I'm sure what the mayor does every day, trying to, and there's a need, but you can't find the supply.
If you take a piece of paper and you draw a building, you know, that would accommodate 4 or 5 different customers, or 6, whatever it be. You lay that out and you mentally start writing, okay, I can get this one, this one, this one, and this one, and this one. And you finish that one, you start on this next one. You start laying those end to end, I promise you, we can find somebody that will build that building, and they'll buy that land.
I have someone that'll take 15,000 square feet.
Yeah. I mean,
how many?
15,000.
They will buy the building, they'll buy the dirt, put it together, the whole thing. You know, the Thorough Road coming through, you know, I'm not big for city subsidizing development. You know, I don't know if they're gonna, and we don't have the money to subsidize development. We have to work with taxes. And taxes not in the sense of, if today the tax on that is bringing 14,000 a year or 20,000 a year, freeze it at 20 for 5 years. Do something, stick your hand out, and then after that it goes to full-blown retail. Just something.
One of the problems we would have with any type of tax incentive is because the tax base in the city of Floresville has been flat for the last 11 going on 12 years.
Yeah.
And actually it's the lowest base in Wilson County, definitely in Bear County, we are the lowest than anyone in Wilson County. Should be an attraction. one of the things that I'm trying to find out, my downtown, I love my downtown, I think it's gorgeous, but I don't know who's where, I would know the beauty, and I can't say how much square footage I have downtown, I don't know who owns what. I mean, the historical society can, so I'm saying, that's one of the things that retail structure's gonna do, is come in and say, here we are, this is what you have, this is how much square footage you have, this is available to sell, this one's available to market, this one's been abandoned, you got a liquor store down there, I've been down there many times, it's got dust on it.
Trying to get in there with you.
I'm just trying to say, it's always coming in the window, it's just sitting there, I'm like, it's just like candy sitting in the store, it's not coming. So
He's aging it. It's gonna be aged.
Oh.
As if it had aged for 2 generations.
And so maybe, an outside can say, this is what you have downtown, this is how much square footage you have, this is amenable to this and the other, because one of the things I'm having is gonna be parking, and this is the time, Mr. Pullen's saying, we're like, we're behind the 8 ball. County is building all this stuff going on, I'm quite sure that when they're doing all this building, that DA's office is not gonna be renting that facility. They're gonna be moving back into the county and the courthouse and all that annexation. So you're gonna have a huge space that's gonna be vacant, and you're gonna have a vacancy that's really gonna be high. What our vacancy rate is for downtown, I don't know. I can't tell you how much square footage I have. I got a Verizon building that's around the corner and back across from my police station, who is there? And I have a great idea for parking. And we want to talk about parking, because I want to talk about parking in one of those little pay-as-you-go kind of things. So we do need to have a plan so that we can say, we can't do it all at once, we can say what we need to be able to do. So Mr. Talley can actually have somebody park in front of his spot, in front of his building, to come and see him, and not, and it's for his business, not that, I mean, it's really something that we have to be able to do. So we can't figure out how to market it when I don't know what to market. I don't know how many stores I have available. I had that little, what's that, sister, that little jewelry place that was in that Turner building. She's leaving, and I'm missing her, because I bought some earrings from her, on the corner, because there was no air conditioning in that building, that's why she left. And there will never be, as long as I'm here, another man camp downtown, city of Floresville, with their building right next door to the Turner building. So those kind of things need to stop. We have a historical building over there, White House Cafe, the White House Cafe. We need to be able to, to connect that, we need to get the sidewalks going.
What's your interpretation of historic?
My interpretation? Oh, and then the canopy's wrong. And then the city owns a canopy over there by Big Dance. So we need to be able to say, this is, we do, that's perfect. We own the canopy, but not the building.
Yeah.
So what we need to be able to do is say, this is what we have for downtown. This is what we have on 181. This is how, even if I know, Mr. Big Boss, and all his junk. Even we talk about that, we can say, look, this is who owns this. We can tell him to clean up, because he's about to not be my friend. That, we have code enforcement, but I don't know what we have. Tommy, I can't speak for him, but Tommy doesn't know how much square footage we have downtown Floresville, vacant and or occupied. What's my occupancy rate? I have no idea. I should know, but I don't. I don't even know how many businesses I have in town, which I'm working on to get the business
If that were cleaned up, you'd be a lot further along with your occupancy rate on it.
And hopefully, retail strategy.
The retail thing, and I think you kind of got away from what I was thinking about. I'm not saying it has to be a tax deferment. I'm just saying, if you don't have money, come with something. Come with, just stick your hand out. I'm gonna help you this way, I'm gonna help you that way. But and I don't have anybody on my fingertip to grab. They probably wouldn't take real long. But you've got to bring something to the table. And I don't, we obviously don't have the money and can't afford to spend the money. So money's not the deal.
Well, we've talked a lot about a lot of things. And so the next question is, well, what are we gonna do about it? Because, we've heard from this little discussion tonight about what we think is a concern, where we think we need to try to head in solving some of these retail issues. So I kind of take several things from here. If I may, the marketing, of course, is very important, as well as getting the team players on board, such as the county, and making sure anybody that has a hand in new business development or retention needs to be in a joint meeting, and that needs to be initiated by somebody on the board with Tommy, the mayor, and others to get that started. And then, Tommy, my thought would be some sort of plan to put together about how we're gonna solve this retail box store issue. We're gonna have to identify some properties that possibly can get brokered or something to find that contact. And that might start with some retail, commercial developers. And I know you've had meetings with someone before. But it's gonna be up to you to really prioritize what we kind of talked about tonight and put together in a proposal or plan and say, hey, this is how I think we can achieve these things. Now, we're all willing to help, but, you know,
That's fine.
we need kind of a plan of ideas and
Action plan.
and by who, when, and what.
Yeah.
Because that's why I asked about this package. You know, anything we do, we have to put some deadlines to it, or otherwise it will just keep going into the next year and the next year. And
I'll have my first draft by your next board.
Great.
don't overcommit yourself
No,
either.
no, no, no. I'm gonna go I
You
get
know.
to step on somebody down the hallway.
I want that on her own.
No, I'm just gonna step on somebody down the hallway. to get
But I think the brainstorming tonight is good, because we don't ever get a chance to sit around the table and talk about this kind of stuff.
Well, you're precisely right, you know, that now needs to be put into some coordinated package so that it begins to be usable and then we can do something with it. Because right now, see, it's all over the place. And you're right, Jason, I like the idea.
If I could talk about one thing, gentlemen, you don't mind, I need to come to the table with this one.
This is gonna be bad?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. So, the hike and bike trail was introduced to me by Mr. Baker. I have fallen in love with this hike and bike trail. I have applied for a grant with the Texas Wildlife, and now we're gonna apply for a grant for, and the council doesn't know yet, but their meeting came before theirs, with TxDOT. And one of the key things that they need to have, we keep hanging off you, is that county has to be a part of it. So we're asking for a letter of support, referendum passed for them to apply for this grant in May. Now, I don't know Texas stuff, but they just let go of some money. TxDOT got a hold of some money, and that they have to use some of it for hike and bike trails. So we'll be coming back to this board, I'm gonna take it to Tommy to say, I need your letter of support, since y'all started with you all. And your predecessor loved this thing, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You got someone's picture the other day.
Yes, I did. So what, the more people that write letters of support, the more people that will pass resolutions, the more people will do it, it can show that it's a community event. That it's definitely something that EDC buys into, the county is going to buy into, even Riverbend is going to buy into this, because they even want to go to Riverbend. Here's my point that, Union Pacific is the train people. They still own it. They just let us use it, but they still own it. They don't own it in Poth. They gave, when they did it for Poth, they gave it 100%. They don't own it in Riverbend, because Riverbend has it and owns it outright, but I don't. And so I'm going to be going to, well, I don't, the city of Floresville. So we're going to be going to Union Pacific to say that, hey, it's not really a good idea to take a train through the middle of my downtown at this point, you know. So Popco is doing pretty good over there, you know. Go that way and then allow us to have this, okay? And so allowing us to have it, I would need the original people who were part of this, which is NPDC, to partner with the city to say, this is a good idea to talk about Union Pacific, to say, hey, this is what we need to do. This thing with the hike and bike trail can take off. Now, you know, our trail is a national historical landmark. It's unique because it's all on public, 3 miles is all public property. They want to take it to the end of Wilson County so that it can touch Bear County, because Sarah on their end is really pushing their trails, pushing their canoeing. So we can benefit downstream, so to speak, in reference to that, which is going to be really key. So I'm really coming so we can talk about these partnerships. And this could be the hook to bring everybody to the table, because there's money in there for the county, there's money in there for us, for tourism, definitely to have people focus on our downtown. That's where we're going to do. Now, the exciting thing, you know, anytime somebody gives you some money, it's always a kick, right? So it's like 80-20 grants.
There's private property between the city and the county line.
Yes, and that's gonna be his problem, so somebody in the county gotta go get him, but I stop, when the river bends in, I fall off the face of the earth. So one of the things is an 80-20 match, okay? So we're gonna come with the in-kind match. They will allow us to do in-kind. They will value the land as part of the in-kind, which is nice. Any engineering that we do can go towards our match. Even staff time can go to the match. So I'm gonna be using some of Tommy's staff time, some of my staff time, just so that we can say the numbers that Tommy spent some time on it, I spent some time on it. Here it is, so that we can use up as much of that 20%. So at the bottom line, I don't have to write this so much. So I'm coming back. Sounds like you all want to really work together in reference to that. So just be prepared. So I just want to definitely have that for you next month so that I can come back with my head held high going, okay, boys, we talked about this before. This hike and bike trail is definitely on it because we can definitely, and the mayor has really been pushing me. Thank you, Mayor, for pushing me. But if you can imagine, now, y'all have to help me out. I'm just learning the streets. C Street, where the beer warehouse is, that leads right into your downtown. And that little thing, a corner across the street from our police department, across the street from the original city hall, and,
Used to belong to Dan Gunn.
on the corner, okay, that needs to be a parking lot. That you charge somebody $1.25 to park there. And they have those on, that can definitely be something that we could take and fund your downtown area, fund your downtown revitalization. Parking where I come from is a whole lot more than it is here, but that little small amount you can set aside, and that can fund your downtown, your sidewalks, your facade that you need to be able to do. And you also need to encourage people on the opposite of you, Mr. Talley, on the side of Wilson County News, is to park behind their buildings. So staff is not parking in front. But we really can't do that since it's not improved property. It hasn't, it's gonna weeded or seeded. But it's easy for us to fix because at one point in time, they tell me there was a street back there, right?
Where's that again?
Arcadia, behind Wilson County
Oh,
News.
behind.
There was a street that went through there, right?
The Thorough Street one.
Right, right.
Yeah, so we can definitely put the parking in the back. It's just like at Walmart, they tell people, don't park in front, put your staff to park in the back. That would definitely free up all of C Street to go forward.
Now, that property behind the buildings, does that belong to the folks that own the buildings? or-
Yes, sir, it's kind of like a
So you'd have
common.
It's common.
Would you have to buy it? Would they seed it to you? or how?
Well, what we want to be able to do is say if they can come along and something piggyback up there to have some kind of business area to say that, we'll give you the extra whatever, if you tie in and help us do that, that we can take some of that money and fund it, they allow us to do that. So we
Because
need
there
to-
was a plan to do that years ago, here I go again, right?
But it was a great plan.
Yeah,
And,
it was.
and as I told somebody, I think I was talking to Richard about the riverbed, I think he said he's meeting with Mr. Perez, that I see the vision that he had, and it is, those bridges are just breathtaking, the red and the
And
black.
then on the other side here by Big Dan's, the same kind of thing with public restrooms in the back there for people that are milling around and need to go pretty quickly.
Yeah, so we need to be able to think about that, because we need to be able to enhance our downtown so that it's beautiful. I mean, you have the number 1 and 2 show are playing at Arcadia. SpongeBob, and what's that other war movie?
Science.
The American Science, right here at Arcadia. The number 1 and 2 movie is right here in our downtown, but a lot of people don't know about it. So we need to be able to help people come downtown, to help people to do that, to drive people, our local residents, to the heart of downtown.
And you
'Cause
could
you
even
would
make it pretty back there.
definitely have some lights.
Well, I mean, but you could do a little bit of,
Definitely.
trees and stuff like
So
that.
we definitely want to be able to do that, and so we could be able to do that.
And
make it
the same thing over by the White House, there's some space back there too.
Yes, and I want to, I get
Yeah,
confused, I don't know if it's Martha or Matas, I get confused, which one comes first? Which one comes first? Matas is the furthest one, or Marta?
No, closest.
Okay, Matas and then Martha.
Yeah, Martha.
We wanted to bring her in because she's kind of like an island out there, and then of course you can't get away from
And
the
then you have the
peanut brittle.
affordable
Oh
housing.
my God, that lady is really living, and so we need to
Then
make.
West Minor had some affordable houses, built over there, that was nice.
Can I ask right quick, I know that I've seen in the files, there was an initiative by FEDC to pave the plan she has behind the spaces.
Right.
What happened?
We never had the money to do it.
Never have none.
We, at one time, in fact, I don't know, you don't have hardly any history, I guess, but at one time, I think there was a budgeting of $100,000, but we had to put it somewhere else, you know, just couldn't please.
We don't need history, we've got you.
Huh?
We don't need history, we've got you. Yeah. Andy, can you think about, because your time frame might have been when the swap was going with the railroad. Were you involved in that? Why don't we go back and clean that title up and get it needed, because then it'll be a whole lot easier to trade with what she's trying to do. It wouldn't be that hard to, you know, it's not that complicated to clean it up, I wouldn't think.
I wouldn't think so.
There's something about that, if you go, you can go follow the courthouse, something, if they don't react in some period of time, it's yours. I'm not sure what the law is on that, but I know that there's something about that.
That's what those private landowners.
That's right, that's what they've all done.
Put fences up and.
You can forget leaving the
Like a
city
squatter.
limits, that land's already in their name.
Sure.
Yeah.
But Lou Rosenberg has done a lot of research into those.
Yeah, and that's what delaying me right now, and hopefully it's gonna make up the next meeting on the 26th for us to do the land swap, is to be able to do that. Because when the first grant I applied for is gonna put restrooms, and so they said along the trail, like I know the restroom's gonna go in the depot, because we need to put it in the depot. And that's actually where I believe that the Floresville Historical Society should be, in that depot. And to be able to do that. And then, a company says if I get it going and the hike and bike trail, it gets paved so that it actually can, there's a company that you can rent those bikes from, and you can rent the bikes. The developer, you know, goes all the way to the golf course, they're willing to say that they want to do some, a train motif on their end as well. So they're excited. Everybody wants, because if you look at Pecan Park, people will walk.
Oh, yeah.
And they use it a lot, it's very well used, very pretty.
I only walked it once, halfway, but it's used all the time. If it's not raining, even in the rain, I've seen people walk that park.
Henrietta, you were saying that both owns theirs, that's.
Yeah.
It is the city
How,
road.
how did they get it, or do you know?
See, the attorney, which is actually your attorney now, Mr. Berger.
Oh, all right, okay.
Your attorney.
My attorney.
Did it for them, and it's a matter of, I think he checked the right box, and when they did it to Floresville, we didn't check the right box.
And you said that River Bend owns theirs.
Riverbend owns theirs, and they moved what they had to give to the railroad a little closer to the river. So it's kind of like they swapped there. So it wouldn't be a straight path with it anyway.
I mean, a simple question is, what does the railroad want with it? What-
I got a call in the Washington.
I know that's
called
too
Washington-
simple,
I
you
called
know,
Washington,
question, but
DC.
nevertheless.
No, I called Washington DC, and I'm like, hey, you know, y'all
You
need
would
to,
think they'd want
somebody
to
tell me.
divest themselves of that land.
I think the easy fix is to find out the document, pass it, put it in the drawer, and let it sit there for 2 years and bring it out of the drawer.
So we're gonna hopefully be able to do that, because I can go get
That's a great
money
idea.
for
Great idea.
the land, but that, tell you, that trail.
We own the bridges, right?
Oh, they're gorgeous. Oh, my goodness. Those things, I take pictures of them. I have to have more pictures of those bridges than I do of my lovely children in my office. It's a gorgeous, it's really quite exciting to see the potential to be there. And people from San Antonio.
And you're a good person to talk about that. You show the enthusiasm. And I mean that seriously.
People from San Antonio will come here because when you get to those bridges, that the cactus, and I know what an Indian pink is, and bluebonnet, and all those wildflowers are growing out there naturally. People want to be able to see and to be able to interact with those kind of nature that you don't have. I mean, the mayor's sister walks her dogs and rides the path, even as it looks like today. You can imagine if it was not paved and benches. I have an Eagle Scout that's coming, and one of his projects is to build some bridges along that way. But the Parks Foundation, once we get this thing going, they're gonna sell benches. I mean, everybody's heard about the Chicago cows, and they sold all those wonderful cows. We're gonna have benches along the, so HEB can actually put a bench there, and the hospital can put a bench there. And of course, they have to pay a very steep price. But we want to be able to have that philanthropic feeling that people are going to give back to the trail, encourage people to walk and to do those kind of healthy things that the mayor's into at the moment.
And there was a plan to extend the hike and bike trail all the way to the cemetery, but that kind of didn't have the money, didn't go
What's the
anyplace.
cemetery?
You know, the Catholic cemetery,
On the other side of 97.
you know, about a mile or two beyond.
This side of Isaac, the
Beyond 97, beyond 97,
Beyond 97.
yeah.
But would that be private property we have to cross on?
I don't know, you know, it's still
No,
the
it's
same
road all the way
railroad.
through.
It's to the
It's
side.
the same railroad track.
Oh, is it? I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, we walked a few times, Jesse and I, looking at it, you know, it's.
Because you walk around in the car park, you live up in one. Yeah, so I'm thinking that's definitely gonna be something that can help us be a sustainable community, definitely something that everybody can buy in, from the county to the city, even hope that they want to do something more than one stop. So I'm hoping that we can be able to do that. Thank you for letting me come to the table.
For sure. I'm sorry we drove on so long, guys. I think we've got a lot accomplished,
Thanks for the input.
but great input by everybody. We'll hear a motion to adjourn.
But again, I think Jason's point was well taken, you know, we need to put it together.
Right.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All right.
Third it.
Second.
Adjourn. All in favor?